Does anyone else have anything they want to say?
I would.
Go ahead, Billy. When you're ready.
I have real trouble telling the truth. I don't understand the concept, actually, but somebody told me it was important, so here it goes. Most of the time, most days, I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. It is so boring. I wake up and I think, again, really? I have to do this again? And what I really don't understand is how come everybody else isn't screaming with boredom too? I try to find ways of making myself feel something. More and more and more, but it doesn't make any difference. No matter what I do, I don't feel anything. I hurt myself. It doesn't hurt. I buy what I want. I don't want it. I do what I like. I don't like it. I'm just so bored.
I think we can all relate to that.
Hello there, this is Leo. Thanks for tuning in. Well, as you just saw in the earlier video, we've seen a young woman who was somehow experiencing some sort of emotional detachment from the reality she was in and those around her, almost like to a point where she was going through life without even having a saying on it. Now, if you're someone like me, a guy with intense emotions, chances are you probably had developed something similar to that at some point in your life, this emotional numbness, also known as depersonalization disorder. And I'm going to link some articles down below for more information about it. This typically happens when we experience something so traumatic in our lives that leaves us with a lot of emotional turmoil and burdens within us over the long run. It's almost like you would see yourself as an outside observer of yourself with no control over your actions and thoughts. Now, to battle that, the body will have, or the mind will have, three typical responses: fight, freeze, and flight. To clarify this, a practical example would be something like, if you're considering avoiding people as a way of protecting yourself from getting hurt as fleeing, then numbing these emotions is actually freezing. In other words, if you're experiencing some sort of abandonment or rejection in your life, then your mind will almost instantly go to the numbness mode, dissociation. In fact, dissociation is our organic response button. That's why when we feel so overwhelmed by something intense, we tend to isolate ourselves. We tend to dissociate ourselves from whatever that's been happening so that we can gain some control back, so we can gain some sanity back. Now, to live our lives and operate functionally with our daily plans and routine and all of that, we tend to wear a happy mask. However, doing so, we risk the potential of actually being in a state of denial with our true selves and what's truly been happening around us. That's why in these situations we tend to feel probably empty or bored and highly likely to have a hard time projecting joy or sadness depending on the situation we're in. In other words, leaving your suppressed emotions for a long time inside your system would lead to create a calming facade that conceals your true psych wounds. That's why in these situations we tend to do impulsive moves like overeating or lashing out at almost anyone, and it probably will take simple events to bring us to the boiling point. Now, I hope by this far you've understood the concept of it, and I think it's only fair now to discuss on how to overcome it. Well, what's worked for me is this: letting go of the shame and the blame that was attached to the emotional numbness. Now, to clarify that, your partner might have accused you of being cold or distant and weren't there where they needed you the most. So, shaming yourself for what happened would only reinforce the defensive patterns. That's why, at these situations, it's better to forgive yourself and make the right amends. The second point is to acknowledge the sadness that's resulted and approach it with compassion. You see, this is really critical, especially when you realize how much life it was wasted and sadness. So instead of bypassing your sadness, set the intention of moving closer to it, feeling it, so that it can be digested instead of being suppressed. The third point would be to look for solutions. In other words, ask yourself how it's all started, where and when and whom you should be avoiding so that you can be out of it, because this journey is actually leading you towards healing, and anything that antagonizes that healing, it should be out of it. And finally, thank yourself for deciding to take this step forward. Thank yourself for deciding to drop that shield down, that mask that's been used for protection, and understand that this is a journey, and hopefully within time you will get to develop some sort of boundaries that only allow good people in, good things in, that agree with who you are mentally and emotionally. And that's all I gotta say right now in today's video. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Please leave a comment for anything you have in mind, and do consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And till next Friday, take care, and I'll see you soon. Adios.